Welcome, friends. Now that we have spent a good portion of the class learning basic skill sets of how to draw from observation, we're going to try now to be able to talk about artwork. It's very important and it's going to hopefully benefit us just as a community as well and as individual artists. So, where we would be talking about each other's artwork would be in a critique. So, what is a critique? A critique is a place where we talk about each other's artwork in order to help each other grow. In order to talk about artwork, we need to understand a little bit about how one typically thinks when they are looking at an artwork. So, in a classroom or in this Canvas classroom, you'll be looking at people's drawings and you're going to want to try to think both objectively and subjectively. So, in this little thumbnail image we have right here, there's a picture of these oranges. On the left-hand side, one character is thinking, these are oranges. This is an objective way of thinking, just very factual, matter of fact, what am I looking at? And then on the right, the other character is thinking, I love oranges. So that character is thinking about the way that the oranges make them feel. Now, for critique, you want to try to bring both of these in. You want to think objectively and subjectively, and you want to just be able to kind of, in this context in Canvas, you want to be able to write that down. You want to be able to write that down, or even if this was in person, you'd want to be able to say that. So think both objectively and subjectively at your peers' artwork. When you're starting critique, you can always try to just think of your past experiences. So what is this past experience that you have with critique? If you haven't been in an art class before, think about any feedback from a teacher or even a peer review that you may have had. Think about your likes and your dislikes, eye-opening moments, or even frustrations. And then take that and try to implement that to your peers. Try to, avoid really making your peer feel frustrated, and try to maybe just only try to be constructive, okay? So, what is the purpose of an art critique? It'll help us shift perspectives because we'll all have something to say from our unique perspective about one artwork, which will help us understand multiple points of view, which will then help us broaden our horizons and ultimately help us think more critically about the world around us, which I think is very important. So let's be productive with our critiques. So for an intake, when you're receiving this criticism, you can take notes of what your peers say in a sketchbook or a piece of paper. Their words may inspire you for your next artwork. And just be open-minded. Try not to take anything too personally, too. That's a good one. And then for feedback, balance both positives and negatives. Mention what is enjoyable and what isn't and why, and try to be constructive. So I always like to give people a little positive feedback before I give them any negative feedback. Negative doesn't mean bad. It just means that, hey, this isn't working, and let me give you advice on how it could work. When you mention what is enjoyable and what isn't, that why at the end there is what can make that feedback constructive. So for critique language, try to avoid solely using I like or dislike. It just is, there's nothing beneficial about that. Just like, hey, I like that drawing. What does that person take away from that besides this one person liked it? So think beyond that. What is even more beneficial to your peers are concepts of observation, analysis, and interpretation. So let's say we're looking at a still life drawing. You could say, I noticed that you added an interesting texture to your still life. And then you can give an analysis of your observation saying that texture seems to command the viewer's attention. And then you can interpret your analysis. I feel as though that texture is telling the viewer to think of this still life as something with life and importance. What skills will you gain from art critiques? It'll help you be more confident in what your art means. It's going to broaden your vocabulary to express what you are feeling and thinking. And it's going to empower you for open criticism. It will make you stronger in that sense to just, I don't know, feel like you are more confident in your artwork. And, maybe sometimes you don't have to take someone's criticism. But in this class, I think for beginners, we really should be open to what other people are saying. This is an artwork by Nehemiah Cisneros, whose artwork is on view at the Barrett Gallery right now. And I'm just going to critique this just really fast. So what I'm observing in this right now is this, it's a painting. It's very colorful, very exuberant, like kind of triadic color formula. Like it almost reminds me of a Mardi Gras color scheme. I'm seeing these characters and what looks like to be almost like, in a way, like very steampunk, apocalyptic vibes. I feel like I'm somewhere in Los Angeles. And the way that it's painted with those colors is very, it's like it's very vibrant. And I feel like the composition has me, my eyes flowing up and down all over the place. And my interpretation of that is that this is kind of a commentary on the chaos of the societal times that we live in today. Very representative of, I think, street culture, representative of taking back power, representative of like kind of like an uprising of sorts. Because I get a lot of, there's like a camouflage person on the left, and there's kind of like these like Amazonian kind of figures, like really strong. And then like there's a car that's broken, it's flopped, it's tipped over, it's upside down. There's a woman on the ground, and people are looking like they are crashing and burning, but there is this like powerful moment to this. Like even that flag, that woman on the right holding that flag, what does that mean? So anyways, that was a just like a verbal critique as quick as I possibly could go. I could probably speak about it for longer. But in the end, I ended up giving my interpretation of everything by breaking down first the observation and the analysis of my observation. So hopefully that can help you a little bit. So make sure just to be honest, be constructive, be respectful of others, where others are at in their artistic journey, and just ask yourself, what can I say to benefit this artist?